I love coffee, mate.
You
I've
love
got me
coffee? What?
I've
Coffee me? Is that like coffee mate? Is that like is that a northern version of coffee creamer? Coffee me.
Yeah, it's called coffee, you know. Yeah.
We've got one similar down here called Coffee in It.
In it.
In it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I've got me Channel 4 News. I mean, do you know what film that's from? Channel 4 News team?
Is that Anchorman?
I only read what's on the auto cue. Yeah, it's Anchorman. It's me Anchorman.
I'm Greg Davis. Who put a question mark on Greg's auto cue?
It's both films are just brilliant from start to finish.
They are. I found out something that I didn't know about Anchorman over the weekend, and Frankie keeps having a go at me about me reading these kind of lad Bible BuzzFeed things with just like
you do like lad Bible though, don't you?
Yeah, but this one was about kind of unknown facts about movies, and the original script of Anchorman was meant to be a survival movie. So it was a news crew that crashed on top of a mountain, and they had to kind of get down and survive and all that kind of stuff, which I really want to see. I want that to be Anchorman 3 now. So yeah, I'd love to see that. Anyway, mate, how are you?
Did you know in the backstory of Anchorman that they were all in Vietnam together, and Brick was a colonel?
No, really?
That's the supposed backstory, yeah. But I mean, my favourite bit is in the second film when it starts off and they're all in this big recreational vehicle, as the Americans call it, RV. We'd call it a motorhome.
Yeah, we would, yeah.
They're all sat eating, and one of them says to Ron, who's driving? He goes, it's fine. It's on cruise control. And he goes, no, cruise control doesn't mean it. It's not like an airplane. He said, no, I'm fairly certain it is. And then the whole thing tips over. There's hot fat everywhere, and it's just. But it's slow motion as the opening credits are coming on.
But that's based on fact, isn't it? Because there was an RV hire company out of Los Angeles.
You can't say RV without going RV.
There was so you'd fly into LAX and then you'd grab an RV and you'd do like the kind of Utah, Vegas route or up to Big Bear National Parks, all that kind of stuff. And because you've got the big old straight roads, they actually had to put a sticker on the sun visor that said you still need to be in control of the vehicle when cruise control is engaged, because people were getting on these big straight roads and they were pressing cruise control, and then they were going back to have exactly like that, going back to have a meal or use the toilet, thinking that cruise control meant I'm going to take, and of course in like every 50 miles when it took a little bend on the road, they would just kind of career off the end. So yes, very good. My favorite scene out of the two movies, however, is when they have the fight in the first one. All the news crews get together and have a fight, and they just sat there after going, well, that escalated quickly, and
I killed a man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been meaning to talk to you about that break. You should maybe lay low for a little bit.
It's fantastic. Anyway, okay, so we went into that one. You and I are sporting round neck t-shirts today, I see.
But mine is not branded and yours is
Star Wars,
Han Solo in, what was that material that put him in?
Carbonite.
Yeah.
Very good.
Hey, the Olympics are on, Greg.
I know, and we've won a few today as well. We've won one in the diving, one in the final of the jiu-jitsu, aren't we?
Yeah. Nothing in the hopscotch. No Kirby.
No Kirby. Nothing in run-outs.
Nothing in run-outs. Nothing in British Bulldogs.
Nothing in British Bulldogs, which we had to stop playing because a friend of mine got too aggressive. But
wasn't Julian, was it?
It wasn't Julian.
As full adults.
Can you imagine playing British Bulldog with Julian? Oh.
Once he builds up momentum, he's like Juggernaut out of the Marvel comics.
He is. He's very much like Juggernaut. He'd take your legs out, wouldn't
he? When he played rugby, because he played at quite a high standard, didn't he? I'm guessing that he was a bit Jonah Lomu in that people would be hanging off his legs, like whole teams, and he'd just be walking down the other end of the pitch. He's like, I'm going to get there.
He would be like a father leaving his family of 7 4-year-old girls, and them hanging around his ankles going. That's what Julian would look like running down the touchline of a rugby pitch.
Well, I tell you what, my questions or some of my questions for you this week are Olympic themed.
Okay, so I've got a running theme, and it gets more and more serious. The first one you'll think, "What are you doing, Greg? This is stupid," but then it kind of kicks in. So
I do think that quite a lot, though, to be honest.
Well, that's why we lace daisies into one another's hair, because we're on the same wavelength.
Still got some in.
You have, yeah. Take them out. Okay, you go first.
Well, I'll tell you what, why don't you go first then for a change?
Okay, all right. So my first one, what's your favourite Spice Girls track?
And the thing is, before I answer it, I'm just over the moon that you've actually prepared some questions.
I know. I thought I'd put an effort in. I mean, I bet I've received literally no comments about my lack of preparation, so I thought it was about the time that I put some effort in. So what's your favourite Spice Girls track?
My favourite Spice Girls track is one that I remember specifically when Jill was at university in Leeds. We were sat watching TV, whatever it was called, Pop Master, Pop World, or whatever it was that was on. And this track and video came on, and it was their first ever song. And it was that, I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want.
Yep.
And I was mesmerised because there'd never been anything like it before. Nothing like the Spice Girls, nothing like that song. The video was pretty, if you remember, was pretty much all one take.
Yeah, and it's following around.
And so I would say that I think they did some great songs after that, but that was the song that changed pop music forever.
Yeah, it was. It's interesting because people say, "Oh, of course there were girl bands before. There was Bananarama," but however, what they did is they invented not only a brand but a message as well, like the whole girl power thing. And yeah, so no, I get why that would be yours. Mine, however, is one that I can still listen to today, and it doesn't feel dated at all. And it was a Christmas #1, but it's not a Christmas ballad. It's a bit like the E17 Stay song. It was To Become One. I really like that song. It's very good.
Need some love, but I never need love before.
Gonna make love to you, baby. Right, okay, so what's your first questiono?
Set your spirit free. It's in my head now. It's the only way to be. Anyway, isn't that the one where one of them mouths to the camera something quite provocative?
Oh, I don't know. I'm going to have to go watch the video.
Oh, I'm fairly certain.
I hope it's Jerry.
I think it's Victoria. Or they mouth something to the camera. You have to have a look. So mine, and you said I would think, what's he even asking? That's a serious question that two fully grown heterosexual men should be asking each other if they want to remain friends.
It gets better. Okay, go on. Your first question.
I feel like I've been a bit serious.
That's all right.
What's your favourite Olympic sport, Greg Davies?
That is a very, very good question.
Summer Olympics.
So what I find is, no matter what level of activity you are, you all of a sudden become experts in the most random sport.
Standard.
And it's like, you're there watching fencing, and you're going, "Oh, come on, that wasn't a contact."
Yeah.
So for me, it's a toss up of two. I love the rowing. Mainly because it's like someone's stolen someone else's bike, because they're rowing along the lake and there's like 100 bikes traveling on the back thing, and it's like, "Oh, you've got Alan's bike. Give me the bike back." And he's like, "No, I'm going." I do like the rowing, but I think for me, the one that just nudges it is the diving. I love the diving, and we've just won a gold, and it was a long time coming for Tom, and I'm ashamed to say I can't remember his partner, but it was a long time coming. But I just love
the other guy, Tom Daly, and the other guy,
yeah. But I love the way they film it. I love the underwater shots. I love the fact that there's that camera that tracks down, and people are like, "Oh my god, it must be motorized," and all it is a camera and a drain pipe. And they allow gravity to track it down. It's just fantastic. And it's, for me, it's just so incremental. You're like, oh my God, that was a brilliant dive. Oh, okay, it wasn't. Oh my God, that was a brilliant dive. Oh, okay, it was. You know, how they tell the difference is just fantastic. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. What's yours?
Well, I was quite taken back by the, and I mean in a shocked way and a pleasant way, by the skateboarding as an
Yeah, now,
Olympic sport.
I'm not sure I can accept that because it's an
Uh,
exhibition
It's
sport.
not my answer. It's not my
Oh,
answer.
good.
Not
Okay.
the
All right.
answer. It's an appendix to the answer.
Very
Um,
good. Very good.
and because every time I've seen like kids on skateboards, they're all like drinking cider and hiding from the police and playing loud music.
Yeah.
None of them seem to take it seriously. None of them skate. So I was quite impressed. But it was the reason I mention it is when you're talking about how do they work out the scores, they all looked brilliant.
Yeah.
So how do you separate them? You have to be an expert. Now my favourite sport would be I've got to go 4x100 relay.
Yeah. And I can see why as well, because
Love it. Love it.
absolute heroes of the track. But it's a bit like when Michael Phelps had to win his 7th gold. All of a sudden, it became a team sport. So not only do they have to run the leg, but all of a sudden, these lone wolves have to come together for a relay. And it's, you know, the technicality of the baton change, which you don't get in the pool. You just, you know, they just dive and do their thing. But that'd be good, isn't it? If they had to pass over a rubber duck, you know, like in the 4x100 swimming, that would be brilliant. Oh, wait, it's the duck, and they had to catch it midair as they dove in.
Like, without the duck, he's gone without the duck.
He's going to be disqualified.
Right. Yeah. Well, so the thing is, what some people might not know, Greg, is you and I are both professional speakers. We both speak at conferences, and we've both written books and things like that.
Yeah, we are both published authors.
We do like to talk about it very much, though. But you know, and we do these things. And one of my favourite presentations that I've done over the last couple of years talks about the GB 4x100 relay team that became world champions because it was all in the transition, all in the team element, not the individual talents. And that's why I love it as a sport.
Yeah, it's I can totally see why. Totally see why you love it. Okay, great question. All right, my next one. Remember, we're going up incrementally. What's your favourite Take That song?
Oh, boom! Do you know what? I'm going to be a bit controversial.
Go on.
It'd be one of the more modern Take That songs.
They've done some great stuff.
I like that. You talked about rowing earlier. I like that one, The Flood.
The Flood is brilliant. That's when Robbie came back for the first time. Him and Mark Owen had the little "Watch Your Mouth, Kid, or You'll Be Floating Home" line in there. Brilliant song.
Yeah, like that. It's a toss-up between that and the music that was the soundtrack for the film Stardust.
Yeah, do you know that made my list as well? Rule the World. That one.
Both of them are anthems, proper anthems. And you know, Take That, I've got to say, would be one of my favourite bands because of what they did, and they transcended pop music and they made themselves from a boy band where they were rolling around in suds and slime on a video and doing the nightclub circuit in leather, all the way through to fully grown BG-esque harmony type music.
And I think the difference between them and the band like the Spice Girls, who could never really break. I mean, they
couldn't dance. None of them could dance apart from Howard and Jason.
Well, exactly. But what Take That had is they had a songwriter in there. So Gary Barlow is probably one of the most prolific songwriters of the modern
and he's written loads of stuff for other people as well that you never hear about.
It was just about the secondary, probably only to Ed Sheeran, who's just, you know, an absolute maniac when it comes to songwriting. But they were able to break that because they had that kind of talent within. They weren't relying on other people and the record labels to go, okay, we want you to go in this direction. So both of yours made my list.
Oh, you've got a list
of kind of top, but mine has to be, and it's because of the, exactly as you said, the anthem-like nature to it has to be Never Forget. So, Get where you're coming from. It's just that it's a bit like, I don't know if you've and I haven't yet seen Bohemian Rhapsody, the biopic of Freddie Mercury, but the clip I've seen where Brian May is saying, I want the crowd to feel like they're part of this song when they're doing We Will Rock You. That the never forget bit where that came in, and they didn't script it, it came in totally naturally. That just makes it a proper anthem for me. Okay, next question.
Well, one day, all of this could be somebody else's dream.
It could be, couldn't it? Or nightmare, depending on, which way.
Oh, I used to love Nightmare on TV. It was brilliant, but that's a whole different podcast.
With the big helmet, yeah.
If you could be an Olympian,
yeah,
would the sport be that you would be an Olympian as? And I will take a sensible and a serious answer if you want, because clearly we could both do Inner City Sumo, but which was an Alan Partridge suggested sport for Channel 4.
I am the one that actually impresses me a lot, just because I've kind of tried it a little bit and realized how difficult it is the shooting. Like the single track shooting where they're doing the clays.
Oh yes, yeah.
And I think it's just something I'd love to be amazing at, and I think it's kind of something you could do for the rest of your life. Whereas a lot of the sports they have a really tight time scale on it. So I think if you became an Olympian at single track shooting and that kind of thing, I think you'd have a long career. And especially at the moment with the focus on Olympians and their mindset, and you could then bleed it into other things like like books and
armed robberies and things.
Definitely armed robberies, yeah. So, and my funny one would be sailing, where I would be the boat. So I'm very buoyant. So Russ, and yours?
Well, I like the idea of the shooting because I've been clay pigeon shooting, and once you get the arc and the tracking of the clay, it's quite addictive. You really get into it. But that wouldn't be mine. When I was younger, so much younger than today, I used to play hockey. For the global market, that would be field hockey, not ice hockey. And I always used it. Was in the era where Sean Curlew and all them were in the. I can't remember the names anymore. It was so long ago. But they were like winning medals at the Olympics, and
there was that famous semi-final, wasn't it, where they beat Spain, and it was like almost like the one major triumph that we had outside a couple of track things that year at the Olympics. Yeah, I remember that.
There were definitely fallow years for us, and so I would say hockey as a team sport would be the one that I'd go for, because clearly my sprinting days are far gone. So
I mean, if you were being really like mercenary about it, you would just choose 100 meters, wouldn't you? Because the money that those guys earn, if you could be a 100-meter Olympic champion,
and it's done quickly, you're just done.
And for me, you can eat 9,000 calories a day. So I mean, my chicken select mountain, because they all eat chicken. So for me, deep fried chicken select mountain that I would get through would just be amazing. So did you have a jovial one as well, Russ?
Not really. It'd just be another joke about being fat.
Oh, okay.
So,
I would be the pole vault Matt.
Just insert joke here. Would be my other one.
Okay, and here's my last one. As I said, they've gone up. Now we've got the big one.
What have they gone up in? What?
Well, wait and see, and then you judge.
Oh, okay.
What's your favourite Beatles song?
Oh, right. I see what they've done. They've gone up in terms of commerciality and success. Yeah,
and legend status. So, what's your favourite Beatles song?
My goodness, this is one of those questions where it's like, depends on what mood you're in, right?
Yeah.
I think I always go back to some of the harmony stuff. So, Ticket to Ride, Paperback Writer, those kind of songs. But the one that used to make me cry as a kid was Yesterday. So I think I'd have to go with Yesterday.
Yeah.
Because as a kid, it was like, but oh, great. I mean, you can't ask me that question. You got Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club. There's so many Beatles songs to choose from.
I don't know if you've seen it.
I'm going Yesterday.
Well, the movie Yesterday, where the Beatles songs suddenly fall out of existence. I mean, that is such a good track and such a brilliant part played by Ed Sheeran in it as well.
Yeah, brilliant.
But I used to love I Am the Walrus because my very first band, we used to close our set to it, and all four of us used to have a little solo. I still play Come Together in the band, but we do a real rocky version. So those two will always hold a special place. But for me, it's a bit like the Never Forget, and it's because you've got that kind of real sing-along moment to it. It has to be Hey Jude. You know, when you get that na 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 na, you know, you play that in any pub, regardless of atmosphere, and everyone is singing along at that point. So I adore it.
I've got to say that bit in that song where you can really give it the Judy.
Hey, Judy. Yeah, it's just brilliant, isn't it? It's so good. Well, what's your final question? It's a final question.
We've got another theme tune. I love it. It's a very simple one.
Okay.
Netflix or Amazon Prime?
Netflix all day long.
Oh, okay. Right, that's easy. Yeah. Good. On mine, I'm Amazon Prime.
Yeah, but so I was basing it purely on streaming content, not on the fact that you can also have pies delivered.
Oh no, so am I. I've enjoyed more of the shows on Amazon Prime than I have on Netflix.
Oh, that really surprises me. I may have to get your recommendation list because I struggle with Amazon Prime. So
well, straight away, Man in the High Castle, brilliant.
Yeah, I 2 episodes in, couldn't get into it.
You have to stick with it. You definitely have to stick with it. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and I'm on now, but you've got to get Stars. It's a bit. Oh, you've got to get that as well. Is Godfather of Harlem's very good.
Oh, okay. All right. I will have a look at it. Okay.
Well, that was the questions.
Good 3 questions. I enjoyed those.
Yeah, they were good. I liked them. Do you wanna jump into famous person? You've got to guess who it is, or do you want to hear what Tom Cruise has been up to with Tom Cruise news?
Tom Cruise news.
Tom Cruise news.
Tom Cruise news all day long. I mean, I would happily do a podcast about Tom Cruise. Right.
Well, what happened was, do you know last week we were talking about phallic-shaped rockets going up into space?
Yes. Yeah.
And Jeff Bezos went up into space with his Amazon rocket or whatever it was. Yeah.
Have you heard that the US government have said to Jeff Bezos and to Richard Branson that they're not officially classed as astronauts because they didn't go above, even though they were in low Earth orbit, they weren't officially in space according to the US government. So
that's sour grapes, that, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah, you're doing it on your own now. You're not officially part of our astronaut club.
Yeah, you're on your own. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, there was a bit of trouble at the launch. I don't know if you're aware of it, but they were doing the countdown. I was like 9, 8, 7, and they're counting down.
Did they say niner like they do in America? They go 10, niner.
Like, I don't think they did, to be honest. No.
Is that because it rhymes with diner and they need to remind themselves that it's lunch soon?
Maybe.
Okay.
They tend to do a lot of the launches in the morning. Don't look for the temperature.
They do. Yes. Less chance of a ran.
So
what happened to Tom when they were doing the countdown?
Out the corner of their eye,
you
see this figure streaking across not streaking, he had his clothes on, streaking across the concrete that runs up to where they were taken off. And they heard this laugh.
Maniacal. And
they saw these blade hands, right? As it was about to take off, turns round, throws himself backwards, through the flame at the bottom. It's crazy, that man. It's absolutely nuts.
Was he like that picture of that poor frog? Have you seen that? When it was there's a great picture out there on the internet where they're testing a rocket engine, and they test it in they've got some swampland somewhere, and at the bottom of these test engines they have a pool of water to kind of dampen down and dissipate some of the fumes. And obviously it's in swampland, so you will naturally get creatures. And there's a frog in kind of front of the screen of this camera, and it's just like that. And it's one. I'll find it and post it on our Facebook page.
That's what he did.
And so Tom Cruise recreated the most famous blast off frog image ever. So, and did he go temporarily for 24 hours by the name of Toad Cruise? Did he, Russ? Did he?
Yeah, he did.
Excellent. Yeah. Allegedly.
The best of our knowledge, that's what happened with Tom Cruise last week.
I would worry if I was Mission Control. I'm sure. I'm assuming they still call it Mission Control, even though it's like a private enterprise. I would be worried about, because he uses blade hands to cut through the air. But surely his kind of swirling aerodynamics that follow him would it affect the rocket? Would it affect the takeoff?
Well, the thing that almost affected the takeoff is beautiful locks. He has like this kind of kink in his hair that makes his hair just fall beautifully. And when he spun round, threw himself through the flames, it created a draft. Nearly caused an issue. But no, I mean, that's just what happened with Tom Cruise last week. I can only tell you what I found out. You know what I mean? It's
very, very good, and very relevant Tom Cruise news.
Talking about news, let's go straight into business news.
Let's go. Business news.
There you go. That's exactly how it goes.
Thank you.
Well, this week is all about. Well, not all about. I've got two stories.
Wow, that was really assertive up until the point that it wasn't.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about. Well, actually, it's not.
Well, maybe it is about.
2/3 of it are about big name businesses that are coming up for sale. Now is the time to be buying a business. Now's the time.
Because you've spoken previously about the Daily Mail Group coming up for
sale. Oh, you won't believe the businesses that are coming up right now if we had the money for it.
Go on.
First one, Selfridges.
No.
Selfridges. Here's a bit of history on Selfridges. It was founded in 1908.
There was that TV show about it, wasn't it?
And it was very good.
Yeah.
It was very good. They've got 25 stores worldwide, with the flagship store in London.
Yep.
But we should have seen the signs, because last year 14% of their workforce were cut. Now that's getting your bottom line ready for sale, if you ask me, or trying to save the business from sale. But do you want to know how much they're asking for Selfridges? 25 outlets around the world.
Go on.
4 billion.
Crazy money, isn't it? So 25 outlets for 4 billion.
4 billion pounds.
That is crazy. So that essentially is 200 million per outlet is what they're going for.
Give or take. But I'm guessing London, the flagship one would be more money like. But and then you've got the brand itself. So when you look at things like the Ivy restaurant chain, start off as one place. Now they're in every city across Europe, pretty much, in the world. So you'll be fair. But there is a bigger bargain you can get if you want to bargain.
Well, do you wait until a bank holiday Monday and then you get 20% off in their Blue Cross sale?
You do. I mean, if you push your luck, you might get 25% off and only pay 3 billion. So
like it. Go on. So what's a better bargain than Selfridges?
Well, if you haven't got £4 billion kicking around in your back pocket,
I'm a little short. I also don't have the money.
Burger King's UK franchise operation is up for sale with a price tag of £500 million.
You'd get that back just from one value meal at Services.
Well, I'd do it just to retire the spicy bean burger, so only I could ever have it, nobody else could.
Oh, you'd keep the recipe in a glass case.
Although the spicy bean burgers at and taste very similar.
I don't suppose there's a lot you can do with a spicy bean. I bet the recipes must be relatively the same. Now, so for me, Burger King has a lot of growth potential.
Yes,
if they can nail the breakfast markets, because they've tried in the past, but they've never quite. They need more drive-throughs and to nail the breakfast market. But I reckon that's a good deal.
I'll tell you what though, the croissant sandwich that they're trying to do for breakfast, that wasn't right.
No, I don't think I ever tried that. They did like a breakfast burger at one point. I remember having it in a weird Burger King, which was attached to a petrol station in the middle of London. And they had it, rather than hash browns, they had tater tots, like the mini potato croquettes,
Nice.
in like a chip bag. And it wasn't half bad. I don't quite know why it didn't catch on, but maybe it was just, maybe they just need to flood the market. But out of those two, I think I would buy Selfridges and combine it with Burger King.
Oh, I see what you've done. Yeah, no, I can't argue with that. That's a good solution.
So can I just ask, when you've obviously found out that these businesses are up for sale?
Yeah.
Is there like a business version of eBay where people sell? Is this how you know, or is it like a boot fair, or like people from Selfridges have their own stall and try to shout things at you to?
No,
over.
I can tell you what happened. So I got this knock on the door earlier on today.
Go on.
Like that.
Like that. Just a single knock.
Open the door.
Yep.
Duncan Bannatyne stood there.
No.
Right, and he said, "Here," he said, "I've been talking to my mates. Do you want to buy a business?" And he opened his jacket like that, and he had Selfridges, 4 billion, and he had Burger King, 500 million. And I said, "Duncan, I haven't got that kind of money." He went, "I'll try next door. I'm out." And he went.
Did you say Duncan Bannatyne, or was that Deborah Meading? Because the voices are very similar.
Come on, I wasn't doing that with my fingers. If I was doing that with my fingers, it'd be clearly Deborah Meading.
Sorry, I missed the visual cue. So, and obviously our listeners can't see you doing that. So I was just trying to clarify.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you did. But that's how I found out. Hey, but there's one more news story that is quite serious.
Okay, let me put my serious face on.
Oh, that's a dumb and dumber serious face. Like, for the viewers, for the listeners who aren't looking at this online, I've never seen Greg look more handsome than he does right now.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I thought your camera had frozen then.
I know that was the aim, and I was getting muscle twitching in my face. So I'm glad the wind didn't change, or I would have been stuck that way.
Oh yes, that can happen.
Which is the law. There
is a serious risk to the business community, and I'm not joking about this.
Can I guess?
Well, go on then.
Is it the pingdemic?
Yeah, I've got it written down. Pingdemic, risk to economy.
It's absolutely crazy, isn't it? It really is.
It's a completely flawed model because there are masses of people removing the app from their phone because it's pinging them 3 days after they've been somewhere. It's pinging them when they've been somewhere and 4 hours later somebody tests positive. And the biggest worry that I have is when you've got whole businesses that can't function because they've got staff that are isolating and are not infected and are not carrying, that's a huge, huge risk to our recovery as an economy. That's about as serious as I can get.
Yeah, it's so I don't quite understand why we can't have if someone gets pinged, we've got testing now. Why can't they just take a relatively cheap home kit, and if they're if they're positive, then stay off, and if they're not, back to work. Because and there are a lot of people out there who will be saying, "Oh, people are just using it as an excuse." There is nothing worse than isolating in your own home for 10 days. No matter what people say, the majority of people wouldn't want to do it. They'd much rather be out there earning money, supporting their employer, supporting their fellow colleagues. So there must be a better way. And I don't know whether or not some of the stories out there are anecdotal, but because it's location based, I've been told of a few people that were pinged because their neighbours had it, and and the dot on the map kind of bled over to them, and it's like, well, no, I haven't been in contact. We don't share air. There's walls between us. So I think something needs to be done. Really does.
Well, one thing that will solve it is our government apparently are going to say if people are double jabbed, immunised, then they don't need to shield if they've been pinged.
As long as they haven't got symptoms, I'm assuming.
As long as they haven't tested positive. I don't know what's right or wrong, and it's one of these things where people have really, really strong opinions both ways on these things, Greg. I just know that it's a bigger risk to our economy than actually when we went into lockdown first time, because there's no governmental help for these situations.
No, it could be the final nail, couldn't it, for a lot of businesses? So something needs to be done, and I reckon we start the revolution now. Us.
Let's do it.
I just like that. I just like the fact that there's another new word, pingdemic.
Pingdemic.
It's brilliant.
Which is bringing back the 90s, early 90s, late 80s indie band, Something's a Ping. They've thought that it's lots of their records were selling, so they've started going on tour again, and they're calling it the Pingdemic, but it's nothing to do with the Sultans of Ping. Dancing on the dance floor, bumper to bumper. Wait a minute, where's me jumper? Where's me that song, that one?
Yeah, I'm going to say yes, but I have no idea. I don't think I've ever heard that song in my life.
You're a lot younger than me.
But yeah, I hope they invent more new words before this is all over.
So do I. Well, I'll tell you what, you're going to have to guess who I'm thinking of. And this time it's not a business person, it's an Olympian, either past or present. I'm not going to do future because I don't know who they are.
Okay, so 5 questions, yeah?
5 questions. It's an Olympian. Go for it. That's all I'm telling you.
Team GB.
Yes. Boom. 1 question.
Did they win gold?
Yes. Boom. Another question.
Did their sport involve water?
No.
Were they a track athlete?
Yes.
Oh, bit of a head wobble.
A head wobble.
Track athlete, but so it could be cycling track. Could it be cycling? Could it be? Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to go big or go home on that. I don't understand what the reticence was around the track, but
if I elaborated it, it'd give it away. You've got one more question, then you've got to guess.
Okay, so are they a cyclist?
No.
Is it right? I think I know why. Is it? And is it Alistair Brownlee?
No.
See, triathlete. I thought. No. Go on, who was it?
Because I said there's no water for a start.
Oh, damn it! Yes, I forgot that one.
And I said they're not a cyclist, and a third of their event is cycling. So, in fact, they spend more time cycling than they do anything else, I think. I'm going to give you a visual clue. Now, if you're listening to this on podcast, You're going to have to watch it on YouTube. Are you ready?
Yeah. I don't know what that is, mate.
Oh, joystick. And I'm shaking the joystick back to front as hard as I can, and then pressing the button.
That's track and field. And is it long jump or is it triple jump?
Could be. Ooh, yeah. I'm going to give it you.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. Go on, you're going to have to give it to me.
Daley Thompson, man. Daley Thompson.
Oh, I wouldn't have gone for him. Wouldn't have gone for Daley.
Daley Thompson Super Test was a very popular game in the 80s where you had to do that with your joystick.
He grew up on the road adjacent to my road in Crawley.
That's a rubbish claim to fame. He grew up on the road adjacent to my road.
Yeah, so you went down his road, up another one, and then into my road, which was a cul-de-sac. And his was called the Glade, and mine was called the Chase.
What does my face say right now?
You don't care. But
Not bothered.
And people in Crawley will care.
No, is he from Crawley then, is he?
No, I think he grew up there. I mean, before Gareth Southgate, him and the Cure were our only claim to fame.
Robert Smith and his crazy hair.
Yeah, they went to Thomas Bennett, the school in Crawley. Yeah, very good. I enjoyed that one.
Cats. Love Cats.
Yeah.
Friday I'm in Love.
The other ones.
Yeah.
What's next?
I'm going to go serious again, then I'm going to finish off with some silliness.
Okay.
Best of class.
Oh, I enjoyed this. So we've done Apple and we've done Mookie Dougals.
This one is a company that was huge in the 80s. Their founder, George Davies, was a fashion buyer who went out on his own and he built a business through the late 70s into the 80s. And Next were huge, absolutely huge. But then they kind of fell off a little bit. And they had 7 to 8 years in the wilderness. Their share price dropped off a cliff. And the story goes that their senior leaders were in a room and they wanted to offer such crazy, insane, brilliant customer service that they said, how do we exceed expectations on delivery? Now, before Amazon were doing Amazon Prime and next day deliveries, you could order by 10 o'clock at night from Next and it would be with you the following morning.
Yep.
That was just crazy. And nobody was doing it. And they changed their total business model. They started bringing in brands. They were putting Costa Coffees in their retail outlets.
Yeah,
and
they had concessionals, didn't they? Yep. So Virgin Holidays are in there. Paper Chase, Costa Coffees. Yeah.
Paper Chase, not Lorraine Chase. Paper Chase. I'm just very impressed by Next as a retail operation because they grew during a period of time when other retail operations, WH Smith's, Mothercare, Debenhams, were all going into decline.
They were being left behind, weren't they? And actually, what I really respect, I mean, now you've said it about the Next directory. Yeah, they were years ahead of their time, and they were the guys that employed drivers to do multi-drop, so specific Next drivers would go around and often for minimum wage, low income people, it was a great way because they were paid per drop of kind of earning more money out of the time that they had. But I think their big kind of cornerstone, reason that people still shout about Next, and I hope it comes back for them, is their Next sale. You know, where you have people queuing at like 3 a.m. to be first. And what's amazing is you see kind of gondolas of clothing that you've never seen before, but because they were on sale for 28 days at full price in one store in Glasgow. And then all of a sudden, like they've got absolutely shelves and shelves of this stuff. And they can genuinely say, hey, this was £100, it's now £1. And people go like crazy for that kind of stuff. Like it's an annual event for some people, and how they did it and how they've built up to that it just begs belief. And it's a bit like Next were doing Black Friday sales before Black Friday was popular.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really clever stuff. And actually, when you look at the founder, George Davis, as well, I just did a little Google because I was sure it was, and I just needed to confirm it. But he then left Next and went to Asda,
And so
and he set up
George and
George
Asda.
by
Yeah.
Asda, and it was once again the first. It was the first kind of supermarket chain to do their own brand, and now you've got two at Tesco's, and there's a load of others as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that must have been that kind of creativity just must have been ingrained in the organization. And I agree, mate. They are top class.
Yeah, they get the stamp. But here's the thing: the drivers for Next, as you alluded to, are local to your area.
Yep.
You know them. You know their name. You know where they live. Your kids went to school with their kids, that kind of thing. And our Next delivery person came around the other day and had like a dentist stick chew for a dog in her hand.
Yep.
And went, "Is your dog about?" As she's dropping something off. I bought her a chew. I was like, "Wow."
Good,
You know,
isn't it?
I mean, local service, local people, national company, really good. And in fact, I've thought of a new insult.
Go on.
Because and the reason I'm thinking of it is I was always this person. You look like you were late to the next sale. You know what I mean? It's like I'd always turn up and you'd be like, "Who wants dungarees?" You
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
I just don't get it.
And not just dungarees. Even if you went there looking for dungarees, the only ones that were left were the beige ones.
Or purple, or the ones with the tie-dye all over them.
Exactly, yeah.
But well, yes, they used to do that with a sale, but what they used to have a mindset of is a good old-fashioned sale where they just cleared everything out.
Yeah, they did.
They would literally ship everything out of their warehouse to make room for the fresh stock.
And in fairness, they did have some really, really good stuff, but I think they were probably a victim of their own success. So they had to purposely bring lines in for the sale because there were people queuing around the block from stupid o'clock in the morning. I mean, it was like a release of a new iPhone kind of thing, but in every town that there was a Next. So yeah, I mean, shopping centres started opening their doors early if the Next were inside a mall, and you then had like coffee outlets go and next sale was on, we'll open up with. So there was that ripple effect of business that came from it. Very, very good. Another great.
Oh, I know it was spotted, my friend.
So when we finally get sponsorship, which we're speaking about with a number of people, we need to send Monkey Batman topping class to the head office in the UK to all of the people. Little plaque, you've been awarded Monkey Batman topping class.
I don't just like that idea. I love it.
I love it.
I love that idea.
And I can't wait until we go to small independent businesses as well. So we can say, Mark Jacobs with Crackers IT. He hasn't yet changed the name.
Crackers IT.
But he will. We know he will. He's in the process.
It's just a matter of time.
And it'd be great to give him a drop of class.
Well, I tell you what, I don't know if I've told you, but the computer I'm speaking to you on through now, I was really struggling to find a computer with the right specification. And I was talking to Mark Jacobs at about 10 to 9 at night.
From Crackers IT.
I've got to say the proper name because he deserves a shout out. It's Tech Night, not Crackers IT.
It's by Vita IT.
Unbelievable. And he sourced a laptop, ordered it, and it arrived with me at 10 to 9 the following morning.
So 12 hours from beginning of conversation to delivery of product. Has he got a team of local dog tube wielding delivery experts?
He will have soon.
He will have soon with Crackers IT.
It's not Crackers.
Go on.
Allegedly.
Better say the proper name. I promise I won't heckle. Go on. What was the proper name?
Tech Night.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So choose Tech Night because all the rest are crackers out of tea.
What rhymes with night and sounds like a northern man could say and
Right.
means bad? Oh, I don't know. I don't
I
know.
don't know. Let's move on. So
Let's-
I've got one last thing to go through, and there's 3 items to this, and it's who would play them in a film. We haven't done this for a bit.
We haven't done it for a bit. I'm going to have to get the Google up because I want to get this right because you didn't think I was taking it seriously before, but I am. Come on.
Yeah, and the reason he's getting the Google up is he doesn't know half the people I'm on about. So yeah, so there was Adam Peaty, who is a swimmer in the Team GB team.
Yeah,
he won his second consecutive 100-meter breaststroke gold medal.
He did today. Yes, he did. Yeah,
yeah, in Manic Monday.
He was the name I was reaching for earlier when I was trying to remember the our success from today. But yes, Adam Peaty. Yeah.
So, who would play Adam Peaty in a film based around Adam Peaty? And I've got somebody in mind, and his new haircut, shaved off, has brought this person to my mind.
So, I can see the image at yours because he's a swimmer, so he's a good-looking lad.
Big lad now.
Arms full of tattoos. But for me, there is a bit of a Johnny Lee Miller about him.
That'd work.
Yeah, he's got that. Yeah, Johnny Lee Miller for me.
Oh, okay. I'm going James McAvoy. But have you seen him in the Shyamalamalan film?
Where he plays the beast and really buffs up?
Yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that's. I just saw Adam Peaty the other day, and I thought, oh, that's a bit James McAvoy.
Yeah, not the bit where he's wearing a dress, the bit where he's a proper beast.
Yeah. But James McAvoy plays it, so I'm guessing he could do it again. So I've got another one.
Go on.
There's a film about the handling of the Great Britain over the last couple of years. It deals with Brexit and it deals with that's in my head.
Pandemic.
Who would play Boris Johnson in that film?
Oh, see, that's a real. I reckon it would be one of those roles where someone really gets into character. So it would be one of those that they are almost unrecognizable. I'm going
so Gary Oldman then.
No, it could be, couldn't it? Yeah.
Michael Sheen.
Or Tom Hanks, yeah. I'm going for Timothy Spall.
Oh, that's very good. I do like Timothy Spall because I was thinking he's maybe a bit old now, but Rafe Spall, his son, who's in the James Bond films, he could do it. I was thinking with a bit of padding, body padding.
Yeah.
Rhys Ifans.
Oh yeah, he would be very spiky.
Spiky. And I was also thinking, oh, you had somebody in here and they've gone. Who was I thinking? Yes, Brendan Gleeson.
Hang on, I'm gonna.
Brendan Gleeson, whose son is Domhnall Gleeson, who's in the Peter Rabbit films.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see Brendan. Yeah, I can see Brendan Gleeson. Okay.
I've got one more.
Give me one more.
You're gonna love this, and your T-shirt inspired me.
Go on.
The remake, the original New Hope remake, right?
Oh.
Can you imagine the travesty? The travesty. But who would play Luke Skywalker?
I've already. It's Sebastian Stan for me.
Who?
The Winter Soldier.
Oh.
There is
Was he not already Solo in the Han Solo film?
No, he wasn't. But very similar look. There's a so when spoiler alert, by the way, if you haven't seen the second season of The Mandalorian, the big cameo at the end, when they kind of so Luke came back in and they'd
This is a proper spoiler, by the way.
I know. Sorry,
it's not even a pretend spoiler. This is ruining a whole season for somebody.
Yeah, I don't care. They should have watched it by now. So they kind of aged him a tiny bit from Empire Strikes, from Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
But he still looked absolutely just wonderful. So what they've done is they've kind of put up an image, and I'm going to share my screen so you can see this image now because it's worth it. So
this is only the second time in Monkey Batman history we've shared something on a screen. One of them was a video from Lisa Ellams.
Yep. So, and this is Sebastian Stan as Luke Skywalker next to the original image of Luke Skywalker.
No.
Yep. Sebastian Stan is on the left. Luke and Mark Hamill is on the right.
That is absolutely mind-blowingly incredible.
Uncanny, isn't it? It's absolutely uncanny. And so for proper Star Wars fans, what kind of poured fuel on the fire was that this gained momentum on Twitter and Reddit and all these places. And Mark Hamill went, yeah, I can see it, and he'd have my blessing. So they weren't talking about a remake; they were talking about him coming into Mandalorian season 3. But if he did a good job there, it could lead to the remake. So, but I want to hear your option.
Rhys Ifans.
So I suppose the next one then, who would play Leia? Because we've already got Solo because he was cast. Sebastian Stan looking at that image is a good shout. Who would be Carrie Fisher? Who would dare take up that mantle?
So she'd have to dye her hair, but I think her acting ability would allow her to do it. And that is, did you ever see Killing Eve?
Yes.
So Jodie, I think Jodie something she's called, the Liverpool actress that's in that. She'd be incredible in that role. But Rhys Ifans would do a good job as well. Give it a go.
Jodie Comer. Yeah.
That's fair.
And what's amazing about that is, like, I think I watched the first 2 seasons, but then only saw her in real life, like speaking on TV. And she's proper Scouser, bless her.
Oh, she's proper kind of coke and chicken.
And like, you get some idea of her depth of talent with the accents that she does during Killing Eve. And then when you hear her speak naturally, you're like, wow, okay, that's really good. I mean, mine would be Scarlett Johansson.
Do you know, I had 2 names in my head before I came up with Jodie's name. And one of them was Scarlett Johansson because I went to see Black Widow at the weekend with Edward. Very good film. It felt a little bit G.I. Joe, Snake Eyes type, but great film. And the other one I had was Rachel Weisz, who I think is in Black Widow as well.
Yeah. She plays the mum, doesn't she? Which
she does, and she plays it very well. She, in real life, she's married to or is a partner of Daniel Craig. Yeah, not Craig David. Yeah.
What I loved about the Black Widow movie was the fact that they poked fun at the kind of silly things that she did during the MCU when she's been introduced. So, like, her sister was going, what is this head flick about? What is it? You're such a poser. And then at one point, she tries to replicate and she's like, oh, that was it. I feel dirty, or whatever. It was just really good. And they nailed that because the Russian people, beautiful people, by the way, are known for their directness. So they'll just, if they're not happy with something, they'll just come out and see it. So they kind of nailed that aspect of her character, the younger sister's character. So yeah, no, I like it. I would be happy with, but I think the one you went with, Killing Eve actress would be brilliant. I mean, what a cast that would be. That would be a great cast.
I do think Rhys Ifans would give it a good go, though.
I think Rhys Ifans would be a brilliant recast for C-3PO. But as long as he kept the Welsh accent.
Oh dear me, C-3PO. He was a very
Anthony Daniels.
polished Anthony Daniels. He spoke like that perfectly, didn't he?
He was just brilliant, and he's been in. I think he's the only actor to have been in all of the movies.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the prequels all the way through, well, obviously the original trilogy, and then all the way through to Rise of Skywalker.
Because unfortunately, the guy in R2D2 passed away, didn't he?
He did, yeah, and he was replaced by Vernon, who now does it. But yeah, I think he's the only one, because Peter Mayhew, he stayed on as a consultant, but he wasn't the actual actor. So yeah. Very good. Now, how are we going to end this one, Russ?
Well, I kept trying to end it by saying Rhys Ifans would make a good Princess Leia, but I inadvertently hit on a topic that we're both very passionate about, and that made it quite difficult.
Okay, so let's end on just one thing, and we both say it after 3. And then we'll end it. If you could only watch one Star Wars movie again, what would it be? 3, 2, 1. Rogue One. And on that note,